Good evening. When Charisma was passed out, my guest tonight must have been there with a shopping cart. When New Faces of 1952 opened on Broadway, one of its most exciting discoveries was the woman who is my guest tonight. That's Leonard Sillman's New Faces, by the way. Her name is Eartha Kitt. Right now, Miss Kitt is a new face on Broadway all over again. When this show is broadcast, she will just have opened in the musical Timbuktu, which is a remake of Kismet set in Black Africa. And Timbuktu brings her back to the stage for the first time in, well, more than a decade. And in fact, she has been absent from these shores a good bit during the past decade, but I'm delighted that she's here tonight to show us what we've been missing. Will you welcome, please, the inimitable Eartha Kitt.
I don't care what nobody say. That's a beautiful woman.
Well, they're certainly glad to have one of us back. I'm not sure. Please don't go away so long next time or whatever.
I'll do my best.
Eartha, I would like to get from you your version, once and for all, of something that happened to you some years back. But before I get to that, if there was ever a cliche that was true about anybody, there's one that's true about you. And it's rags to riches. Literally, from the dirt farm in South Carolina to what they used to call the smart supper clubs of the world. You don't hear that phrase much anymore. But the shimmering, sexy, glamorous, rich, envied, marvelous woman who sits beside me now.
Ow.
Y'all just don't understand that purr. Oh my God. When I first saw this woman in the Catwoman outfit, I told my mother and them that she was going to be my wife. I literally told her, I said, Mom, I found my wife.
Oh, I didn't mean you, the one over there.
I was wondering whom you were referring to.
But could you possibly ever have had a presentiment back there in South Carolina? Someday I'll show them all, I'll be there and headlining in the Persian Room.
Well,
No.
not really that way. Of course, I know what you're referring to, but I didn't know anything about the outside world in the cotton fields of South Carolina, so you have nothing to compare anything to.
That was the world.
That
if
was
someone
the
had showed you a
world.
picture of a glamorous woman in a red evening gown in front of a microphone, you would not have known whether that was from this planet or something
It's
else,
true.
probably.
Actually, the people whom we were working for on the plantation, we only saw them also as working people.
Mm-hmm.
We never saw them in a glamorous way. All we saw was the great big white house sitting in, on top of the hill. And those are the people whom we were working for. And when we saw them, they would come and pick up the cotton, in the big sheets. But that's the only type of life we ever saw. I didn't know anything about electricity or inside sanitation, which still scares the devil out of me, or gas stoves, movies, never heard of it, a radio I'd never heard of. As a matter of fact, when my aunt, my mother's sister, sent for me to come here to New York to live with her after my mother died, and she took me away from the South because I was being very badly treated by the people down there because they said, well, we don't want that yellow gal in our house,
Yellow gal. Now, just to stop you for a moment, what's so insulting about that phrase?
Well, it means you don't belong to anybody, actually. You are not white and you're not black, and also being an illegitimate child.
Yeah.
You're an ugly duckling. Nobody wants you.
Your father was white and your mother was black.
My mother was part black and Cherokee Indian.
Yeah.
So you're
But it was your
you're a
father who was
mixture.
white.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I'm told.
Yeah.
I never saw my father.
Yeah.
And when my aunt sent for me out of that world and brought me up here to New York, and they turned on the electric light on the wall, I think I stood and played with it. I thought it was magic. As a matter of fact, I still think lights are magical. But as a child who never saw any type of world like that, it was very, very amazing for me. And then they turned the radio on, and voices came out of this box, and it scared the devil out of me. And when I asked what is happening, my aunt said, well, there are little tiny people inside. And when you press the button, the people will talk, or you press another button, and they don't know to play music.
Are you telling me there aren't little tiny people inside?
Yes, you.
Isn't that what we are now? I never expected to grow up to be one of those little tiny people, did you?
Can you imagine thinking about the different things that you tell kids just to, answer their questions.
But all of that was very, very, very interesting. It's fascinating
Yeah.
for a child to be brought out of a world that has nothing to compare to. We didn't have any books. I went to school, I think, 2 or 3 days when we were down there. So we had no magazines and no movies, nothing to compare the rest of the world to.
Do you ever get a kick of the kind that I talked to the singer Charlie Pride about on the show once, of being able to go back and stand on that very land and say, I could buy this now if I wanted to? Have you ever had any desire to get that kind of emotional
No,
revenge?
I want to stay
or
as far away from the cotton fields as possible.
in case they reopen them.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have a little estate in Beverly Hills, and I always threaten every agent I've ever come in contact with that I'm planting cotton and I'm hiring them to pick it.
Do you have a little white jockey out front? Who,
This video raises questions, and I need for you to be extremely honest in the comments when answering them. And just so you know, I have 2 questions. Number 1, do you consider yourself a great fan of Eartha Kitt? And number 2, have you seen Timbuktu? And please be honest in the comments when answering these questions. Share this video with anyone you deem necessary, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.